So in this video we're going to talk about whether veganism is dying and whether people are rapidly leaving veganism to go towards a meat diet. So the people that are promoting a carnivore diet, a low carb diet and all these things at the moment, they're starting to put out this idea that veganism, that people are just leaving veganism in hordes, in huge amounts. People are leaving veganism. And they're doing interviews with people, they're putting up pictures or images or videos or whatever of people who are leaving veganism, who are ex-vegans and so on. But that's just not the case in terms of veganism going down as a movement. In fact, veganism has been growing rapidly over the last few years, especially since I got into it. But before that, with social media, this information is getting out there to more and more and more people. And many of these people who are ex-vegans will go back to being vegan because they're just flip-flopper people. None of them really know what they're talking about or doing. They've not really understood the education, the nutrition, the science behind it. They don't understand any of that stuff. They've bought into their own paranoia, their own fears, their own weaknesses, their own weak mindset, and they've blamed it all on veganism. They've blamed their health on veganism and everything else. And veganism isn't really a diet, it's more of a philosophy, but you can attach it to the diet, of course. And you can really eat a vegan diet without really being a vegan as well. I mean, in the history of humanity, there's been a lot of times that people have eaten a vegan diet for many different reasons, economic and so on, and didn't have access to other foods and whatever. So a vegan diet doesn't necessarily mean a person's vegan. But if you look at the numbers, if you look at the percentage of people that are now saying they're vegan, that has went up and up and up. And it doesn't matter if a few people have dropped off along the way, they'll be back. Believe me, all these people will be back. They might do a better version of the diet that, you know, if you're doing a junk food vegan diet, of course it's not going to be any good for you. But it's an absolute lie to say that veganism isn't growing, because it is growing and growing and growing, and it will continue to grow. And the ethical part of it is a big part of that. So people just learning more and more and more about the animal thing. Human beings are not carnivores. Human beings have no instinct to kill and eat animals. And that's one of the major reasons that once people wake up to that, oh yeah, I'm not. Oh yeah, I don't really like meat. You know, because people don't really like meat that much. They just think they do. Oh no, I do like meat. No, you don't. You really don't like it as much. And it's only when you give it up you realise you never really liked it that much after all. So for the ethical reasons, and the funny thing about the carnivore diet people, none of them eat, they say that this is a natural diet, that eating meat is the natural diet of people. So if it is a natural diet, why don't they eat meat in a natural form, which is a dead animal? That's how carnivores eat meat. They don't eat processed slices of meat that have been butchered and cut up and then they add salt to it and fry it and boil it or whatever. They eat a dead animal, like that guy. Who's that guy? Food for Luca or something like that. Food for Lucas or whatever his name was. He used to go and eat roadkill off the the ground. We don't do that because it is so dangerous most of the time. In terms of it was disgusting to us. The concept of eating dead animals is disgusting to us, absolutely disgusting. And so the carnivore diet is another fad that will go away. Just like the keto diet is going away. Just like the paleo diet disappeared. Just like the primal diet disappeared. Just like the Atkins diet disappeared. Not that they won't come back because people will forget how bad they were. But people want to believe in this delusion that they can eat butter and eggs and bacon and it'll get healthy. It's a complete delusion based on lies. And none of it is, if we look at the science of nutrition and what we know about nutrition, it's not like we know everything 100% for sure. We can't say everything about nutrition. We don't know what every nutrient does, what the importance of everything is. We've not got everything. We can't say everything to the point that we say it's all confirmed, absolute 100% science. But we can say that saturated fat leads to heart disease. And we know that that's very, very likely, incredibly likely to be absolutely correct. We can say that red meat leads to cancer. We can say that processed meat leads to cancer, which is what everyone's eating, is processed meat. Because it's more edible to people, because eating dead animal flesh is not edible to people, or not very edible, without usually the addition of salt, which is what a lot of people are adding. If you're adding salt to your meat, why? Why do you need to add salt to something if it's meant to be natural? Why do I not need any salt in my diet as someone that eats fruits and vegetables? Why is it that my food is delicious to me and is appealing to my senses in every way? That's my instinct. Why is your instinct telling you that meat is so disgusting that you have to add salt to it? You have to buy it in a form that's been completely processed so that you don't actually see what it is, which is something so disgusting that you wouldn't be able to eat it. Because a dead animal is so disgusting to your senses that you would not be able to eat it. You would be sick of the idea of doing that. So have people eaten dead animals in the past? Yeah, of course. We've eaten wallpaper paste in the past. People have eaten dead babies in the past. That's what starvation does to people. And if you treat your body like that, like it's in starvation, then what's that gonna do to you? What kind of message are you sending yourself? So I would rather eat the diet of abundance, which is what is freely available to everyone. And to move towards healthy, move towards the healthiest foods for humans, which is fruits and vegetables. And the insane idea that fruits and vegetables aren't healthy and you should give them up and they've got anti-nutrients in them, and this is so in opposition to everything we know about nutrition and about food. It is a conspiracy theory mindset of absolute nonsense. These same people believe in all sorts of flat earth theories and all sorts of, I don't know, all the conspiracy theories out there. They're the same people that they've looked for a path of truth and they've bought into lies and delusion and nonsense because they don't believe in science anymore. They don't believe in doctors. They don't believe in the society and everything else. And that's just such a lazy mindset. It's so lazy. You can't just have that one philosophy towards everything. You need to have a different inquiry towards each idea that's presented to you in life and take it on its own merits and look into it yourself, or take the advice of the consensus of experts rather than just looking at it yourself as if you're an expert. What we find is saturated fat leads to heart disease. It is the biggest killer in the Western world. A low-fat plant-based diet, raw vegan diet or cooked vegan diet reverses heart disease. This is the #1 reason that people will be moving towards veganism in a massive, massive way. The damage that dairy as a product, as a food, does to people will move most vegetarians towards vegan, and will move most people away from dairy. But the fact that cancer is connected to meat, basically what's going to happen is, essentially, one point someone's going to be brave enough, a politician or someone is going to be brave enough to stand up and say, hey, we should cut out meat, like, completely. Someone's going to actually have the balls to do that, or some company, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it gradually with companies starting to add in vegan options, with clothing companies starting to add in vegan options. And the thing about this is, when companies add in vegan options, it's not just vegans that use those options. It's everyone that uses those options, because no one wants to be a part of animal suffering. And no one wants to be a part of animals being killed and things like that. No one wants to be part of that. Humans aren't carnivores in any sense of the word. And eating a carnivore diet is primarily destructive, firstly to your kidneys. Immediately as you eat meat and eat foods like that, it's doing harm to your body. Immediately. And over time it does huge harm to your body. But the first thing it's doing is destroying the kidneys. It's putting an immense burden on your kidneys And what we've seen in studies of the low carb diet, which nutritionists know that it's unhealthy and unsafe. We know that for sure. So we don't put people on those diets and study them. But the very few studies that have been done on those diets have, what we've seen in a very short space of time, is damage to people's kidneys in a fairly short period of time. We don't see that on the vegan diet. We certainly don't see that on a raw vegan diet. So people out there claiming that that veganism is falling, these are all, I'm telling you, all those people that flopped and flipped onto another diet, they're going to flip back. They just don't have any, what's the phrase? They're just people that follow. They're not leaders. They're just people that follow. And when they see someone interesting, they go, oh, I'm going to try his diet. They see someone else, oh, I'll try that. It's the same people that when Harley and Freely and different people were doing raw, they were all doing raw. And then they all went to plant-based. And then some of them have went back to something else. And then some of them went to something else. They're just followers. They've not... So, follow your own nature, which is not to eat meat. Otherwise you would go out every day and kill something, but you don't. You gather your food, as all frugivores do. Enjoy your fruit, move towards the fruit. Learn more at UK Fruitfest down below. See you in the next video.